Dubai built massive 8-lane highways across the desert using foreign contractors, imported expertise, and billions from oil wealth and sovereign investment funds. That is expected from one of the richest states in the world. But in December 2025, something far more surprising happened. A landlocked country in the Sahel governed by a military administration facing international sanctions and still battling jihadist insurgencies across large parts of its territory launched a massive infrastructure project of its own. A 332-kilometer, 8-lane motorway featuring 9 interchanges, 26 overpasses, and a design speed of 140 kilometers per hour. And unlike many mega projects across Africa, this one was not financed by foreign powers or international lenders. According to officials, the project is being funded entirely by the country itself. This is the tale of Burkina Faso's first motorway and why it fundamentally alters our understanding of the situation in the Sahel. What they really constructed in Yebdi, close to Ouagadougou, on December 16, 2025, Captain Ibrahim Traore formally began building Burkina Faso's first motorway. The numbers tells the narrative, therefore, allow me to present them to you. The road that connects Burkina Faso's two most significant cities, Ouagadougou, the country's political capital, and Bobo-Dioulasso, its commercial capital, is 332 kilometers long. Prior to December 2025, it was a narrow, hazardous, pothole colonial-era road that couldn't handle the freight load of a burgeoning economy. The whole width of the corridor being cleared is a 100-meter right of way with 4 lanes in each direction on the new motorway. In contrast, at its broadest point, the M25 highway around London has a right of way of about 100 meters. This Sahel-level infrastructure was constructed in accordance with international highway standards. There are 9 two-level interchanges, which means that there are no roundabouts or traffic lights and that traffic flows continuously. There are also 28 overpasses and 1 underpass near the Bobo Dioulasso entrance. The design speed is 140 km per hour outside of cities. As of right present, the legal speed limit on the colonial era national route 1 is 90 km per hour. The Canadian government travel advisory describes the route as having potholes and tight portions. This is the detail that turns into a worldwide narrative. Burkina Faso is covering all of the cost on its own. The national budget of 2026 has set aside at least $357 million or 200 billion CFA francs for this project. The International Monetary Fund did not provide that loan, not a World Bank grant, nor 30 years interest bearing Chinese debt funding, not conditional development assistance from Europe. Burkina Faso's budget is made up of state funding and locally produced earnings. At the launch, Traore made it clear national resources are used to fund this initiative. That is not a topic of conversation. It is included in the budget line for 2026. Additionally, development is ongoing around the clock. They are not holding out for the upcoming fiscal year. They are negotiating with funders without stopping. The crews are always present on the scene. 5 weeks after the beginning, on January 25, 2026, Burkina Faso's Infrastructure Ministry reported that 232 of the 332 kilometers had already been cleared. In 5 weeks, 70% of the entire path was cleared. Section 2. It replaces the colonial road. You must comprehend the true appearance of the road it is replacing in order to comprehend why Burkina Faso is celebrating this. The current National Route 1, which connects Bobo Dioulasso and Ouagadougou, was constructed during colonial times. Instead of serving the Burkina Faso people, the French constructed this road to transport troops and exploit resources. It's not that wide. It has a lot of potholes. Outside of cities, its maximum permitted speed is 90 km per hour. In reality, Most large vehicles go far more slowly than that due on the state of the roads. Outside of Burkina Faso's capital, highways have narrowed paths, potholes, and animals that can suddenly dart onto the road. According to the Canadian government travel advisory, one of the most comprehensive in the world, it cautions that during the rainy season, road construction quickly deteriorates. Some remote routes become totally impassable, according to the report. Road quality is not a comfort issue for landlocked nations, one that has coastlines on a port of its own and depends only on road connectivity to reach the sea. It's a matter of survival. Costs increase with each additional hour a truck spends on the road. The cost to the farmer whose produce is going bad. The trader's cost when their goods are delayed. The family's expenses in their medication is delayed. The entire West African commerce route will shift once this motorway is finished. Mapo Faso, the larger picture. The Ouagadougou-Bobo-Dioulasso motorway is not a standalone undertaking. It is the foundation of a much bigger structure. It is a national modernizing initiative called the Faso-Mapo Initiative by Ibrahim Traore. Additionally, he made a statement that the highway's launch that received very little attention from international media. We want to build highways connecting all regional capitals, he stated. Every regional capital, not only the two largest cities, high-speed, high-capacity motorways connect the whole country, and it's already taking place. To integrate into this national motorway network, the Kudugu-Yaku Road project, which was initially intended to be a typical single carriageway route, has already been rebuilt to a dual carriageway because the vision grew. They altered the design in the middle of the planning process. That is not how an improving government behaves. That is how a government with a master plan behaves. Here is another thing that goes virtually unnoticed outside of Burkina Faso. The Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA, and Burkina Faso's Ministry of Infrastructure collaborated in February 2025 to apply the Donu approach. It is an earth-bag road construction method used in Japan to construct roads that are more resilient, sustainable, and significantly less expensive than traditional paving. You fill study bags its logical available materials, sand, dirt, and gravel. The objective? To construct roads throughout Burkina Faso, utilizing local labor, materials, and expertise for a fraction of the typical cost. The Donu approach expands road access into places that the motorway cannot reach, even if the motorway is constructed with state funding. Sovereignty over infrastructure on several fronts at once. The primary corridor is a high-speed motorway, inexpensive earth-bag roads in rural regions. Two distinct instruments for the same purpose, linking Burkina Faso to itself, and behind the Donu technique, behind the motorway and behind Faso Maebu. In March 2026, Burkina Faso unveiled a 64 billion national development plan, a 5-year initiative that addresses every aspect of Burkina Faso's economy, including mining, agriculture, healthcare, education, water, and roads. The highway is not a singular instance. It is a component of the infrastructure of sovereignty that Traore's government is building concurrently on several fronts. According to the government's December 31st speech, which Africa News verified, food self-sufficiency was attained in 2025. 7.4 million tons of grains are expected to be harvested in 2025 and 2026, a 17% increase over the previous year. Renegotiating mining contracts will give the state back control of its mineral resources. For a century, Burkina Faso has been losing its gold, manganese, and zinc to foreign owners. And now, a sovereign economy's physical conduit, the roadways, infrastructure constructed for the benefit of the nation's citizens using its own funds and on its own conditions. Now, I want to be honest with you. The highway and the figures are genuine. But there are certain questions that need to be answered, and I will do so before anyone in the comment does. Is Burkina Faso able to sustain the economic momentum? The initial commitment for 2026 is $357 million. The cost of building a 332-kilometer 8-lane freeway with 28 overpasses and 9 interchanges will be far higher. This was stated clearly during the launch by an ECOFIN agency. A project of this size and complexity usually needs consistent funding over several years. The 2026 pledge is a start, not an end. At least $200 billion, but not a precise amount, according to Traore. Whether the funding will continue through 2027-2028 and beyond is the true question. Will they be able to meet building goals? Although it is astonishing that 232 kilometers were cleared in 5 weeks, removing land is not the same as constructing road. The technique intricacy is found in the engineering structures, interchanges, overpass, and drainage systems. Far wealthier countries than Burkina Faso have struggled to meet deadlines and control expenditures on infrastructure of this magnitude. The test is still execution. How is the security situation? There are still areas of Burkina Faso under jihadist rule, especially in the north and the east. The center corridor between the two capitals, which is comparatively safer, is where the motorway route passes. However, the larger infrastructure plan will necessitate construction in areas that are not yet completely secure in order to connect all regional capitals. That is a true limitation. I'm not asking these questions to argue that the initiative isn't legitimate. I am bringing them up because real analysis necessitates holding both the problem and the accomplishment at the same time. What is unquestionable? The launch took place. They are clearing the land. The budget for the 2026 contains the funds. There are specifications for the engineering design. Construction is ongoing round the clock, and these are the facts. Confirmed, recorded by A-Roads, Infrastructure Database, Africa News, Africa Briefing, and ECOFIN. The significance of this occasion. What I want you to learn from this video is as follows. Every significant international organization, including the World Bank, the IMF, and Western Development Organization, has a model for how an African nation should grow. You take out loans from them, you put the attached conditions into practice, their technical advisors are acceptable to you. Using the contractors they suggest, you construct the infrastructure they approve of on the schedule they provide. For 60 years, Burkina Faso and the Sahel region have used this model. And how did the roads look 60 years later? Limited colonial period. Potholes, hazardous during the wet seasons, the highways that the French constructed to take use of the nation's resources are still in place. In December 2025, Burkina Faso, a government under intense pressure and one that the international community has been attempting to isolate, an embargo declared. We know what roads our people need. We are financially independent. They are being constructed by us. This is not propaganda. It's an infrastructure project with a budget line, a design specification, and 24-hour construction workers. It is true, you should be able to look at a 332-kilometer 8-lane motorway that is financed by a nation's own national revenue and say, this is what economic sovereignty looks like when it begins to take physical form. Regardless of your opinion of Traore's policy, not in a rhetorical sense like concrete. Similar to asphalt, as a road on which a farmer's tractor would travel, as a route that a merchant would take to transport products to the port more quickly and affordably. What makes this project so significant is not just the road itself, but what it represents. A landlocked nation trying to create its own direct connection to the world on its own terms. For those who want to go deeper, all the sources used in this video are available in the pinned comment below, including reports from ECOFIN Agency, Africa Briefing, the AA Road Infrastructure Database, and independent credibility analysis surrounding Sahel Liberty News. Don't just take my word for it. Read the report, study the data, draw your own conclusions, because beyond the politics and headlines, the real question is bigger than one highway. Can Burkina Faso sustain this momentum? Can the Sahel truly build independent infrastructure capable of reshaping its future? And if this highway is completed, what does it change? Trade? Security? Regional power? Economic independence? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I want your analysis, not just your reaction, because what is happening in the Sahel right now may end up redefining the future of West Africa itself.